Alright, so you've just bought your acoustic guitar, online or in the store. I don't know, that's up to you. Anyway, in this video we've compiled the top 5 acoustic essentials that we like to recommend to customers when they leave our store, or maybe you online. It's nice to have an acoustic guitar, but it's also nice to take good care of it, because maybe you want to play it live and you don't want to have it repaired too often. That's what today's video is about. We're just going to show you those essentials needed. Some of these items may be obvious to you, or maybe they're not obvious to you. They are all equally important. However, I'm pretty sure number 1 is going to be important to everyone out there, so keep watching. So you've just bought your acoustic guitar, maybe this beautiful Santa Cruz OM right here, beautiful specimen.
Play Wonderwall.
Okay. You need a tuner, because when you're going to play live, you want to be in tune. I know it sounds a bit dull, but it's the first thing that you really need. And we like to recommend these little Diodario tuners that you can put on the back of the headstock. Let me just grab that for you. So this little tuner can pop right onto the headstock, and when you're playing, you're holding it like this, you can just see it on the back of the headstock and no one will ever see that you're tuning the guitar. Of course, there are loads of other tuners out there. This is just one that we think is very nice because it's inconspicuous, easy to read, and it's reliable. There are, of course, different ones. You've got these, but they protrude forwards a lot, so people will notice that you have it on your guitar. There is one other very popular option, and that is to have a tuner kind of like this. But that clips onto the side of your sound hole right there. And then when you're playing, you can just look down like this, and then you'll see the tuner reflecting the notes. That's also a very nice place to have it without the audience noticing that you have it in there. So that was number 5. And the next one on this list is a very important tool in our eyes as well. It's a capo. The capo is used to actually transpose the guitar into a different tuning, and then you can play the same chords. So if you're playing a G low and you've put a capo on a certain position on the neck, then you can keep playing the same open stringed chords. Again, there are a lot of different capos out there. We have some Shubs, we have some Taylor capos, some Dunlops. Another popular one is the G7 Performance 3, but we actually like to recommend the Shubs because they are very easy to use, they're tiny, they're lightweight. And the only thing that you need to keep in mind is that you're buying one for a steel stringed guitar if you just bought a Santa Cruz OM. Otherwise, make sure it says nylon on there, or maybe a 12 string. Also, the final difference between a steel string capo versus a nylon string is the radius. It's hard to get it across on camera, but you can see maybe that the steel string capo has got a bit of an arch to it, and the nylon string is a lot more just like flat. You've tuned your guitar, you want to play Wonderwall because now it's in tune. You need that capo on the 2nd fret, of course. And then you want to look good on stage. So we go over here. So number 3, this is a bit of a subjective thing, of course, a guitar strap. If you're playing live, you probably want to play standing up, and then you're going to need one. So this is very subjective. I'm just going to choose whatever I like from this rack over here, and then we're going to go over there, show you the final essential that goes along with this strap. I like vintage vibes, and this is a brand, actually a Dutch brand, Holy Cow, because it's of course got a Holy Cow right on there. A little cool detail about these straps specifically is the fact that on the back is actually a seat belt. This is actual car seat belt. So that's actually very comfortable when you're playing, because it just slides really comfortable like that. And the fabric on top is actually genuine retro fabric. Very cool detail. I've got the strap, but I want to put it on this guitar, and I'm going to run into a problem, because most acoustic guitars, believe it or not, do not come with 2 strap buttons, or maybe even one at all. This one does have one here, but there is not a strap button on the back here. A lot of players would have it off to the side, or they would have a strap button here on the back, but that's something that you can have fitted. So that's something our luthiers do for you as an option. It's a very normal procedure, and it's done literally in like 5 minutes. So whenever you check out your guitar and you want it done, don't worry, and you can take it home straight away. But there's a final option, because I can totally relate if maybe you don't want them to drill into the back of your guitar. The third option The final option is this Martin headstock strap tie, and this is actually something that you can use without having to drill a hole into your guitar. This goes underneath the strings on top here, and then it just clips on to your guitar strap, and then you'll have it around from the back all the way to the front of the headstock over there. Then we end up at number 2, and number 2 is really important to anyone buying an acoustic instrument, not just a guitar. It has to do with climate control, because you may live in a dry environment, a wet environment, but you have no idea. There is a way to check, which is this. This is a humidity and temperature sensor. Basically, you can just put this in your room. We actually have a lot of them around the building. We have them hanging in the guitar rooms, and we have different areas that we need to check because they are climate controlled differently. Basically, what this tells you is the amount of humidity in percentages, and you want to end up between 45 and 55% humidity in the room that you're keeping your guitars in. So it's a perfect tool to know whether the room that you're keeping your instrument in is humid enough or maybe too dry. If you want to know more about that, you want to have a deep dive on that, check this video because we did a humidity video. Okay, and so number 2 is actually a little segue to number 1, because once you've found out what climate you're living in, you need to know if you can act and how you can act when you're living in a dry or wet climate. And that is where this comes in play. This specific one actually is a humidity pack. There are many different ways to control the climate in your house or just the area that you're keeping your instrument in. This one specifically is a maintainer. So that means if it's slightly too dry, it'll make it a little bit more moist. And if there's too much moist in the air, it will absorb it from the air. But there are also climates where it's always way too moist. In that case, you have dehumidifiers. And this is actually the same kind of product. It goes into the sound hole of your guitar right here. You can hang it in there. And this absorbs all of the moisture out of the air. So this is a tiny example. You also have dehumidifiers that you can put in a room, and you also have maintainers that you can put in a room. Well, let's say you've got a big room like us right here. Then you also need a big humidifier. So this is actually the same thing that we just showed you in small, but then in big. It can release moisture when it's necessary, and it can extract moisture when it's too wet. Of course, these ones that I've just showed you are not the only ones. There are loads out there. There's a brand that makes them. It's called Oasis. There's also other possibilities like bamboo, charcoal, also being able to affect your climate. Why we think that this is the number 1 is the fact that it keeps your guitar in pristine condition. We want to make sure that your guitar is not getting any cracks in the top or the side, because those are expensive repairs, and this is what helps with that. So that sums up our top 5 essentials when you've just bought your acoustic guitar. Of course, there's loads more stuff behind me that might appeal to you, but we think that these are the things that you need when you're starting out or when you've just bought another acoustic guitar, because we never have enough, right? Anyway, my name is Maiko. See you next time.